Okay, Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that rule well, and Shalom to you, Archeum, that be teaching this word around the globe with faith and truth and with sincerity. This is the brother Caleb from the GMS London Forecasters Cap, coming back with another lesson to edify and feed the Lord's hopeful elect. Before I start, as always, I'd like to say that we are the real Hebrew Israelites. The real Israelites, these so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, West Indians, and West Africans predominantly. However, you are going to get Israelites who do look like the other 17 nations because Israel has been scattered amongst all people throughout our various captivities. But if your seed line by your forefathers goes back to the man in the Bible named Jacob, then you too are an Israelite no matter what you may look like, because the book of Numbers chapter 1 and verse 18 states that your nationality is determined by the lineage of your forefathers. So this is an article that I was literally I just was reading this. I didn't finish the article, but I thought, you know what, let me see if I can make an edifying lesson out of it. So it's from CNN. It says the US needs a Marshall Plan for global vaccinations, and it says let's get into it. Donald Trump left President Joe Biden with many messes to clean up: a raging pandemic, a weakened economy, and a cascade of foreign and domestic policies that diminished America's standing on the world stage. Now, for those of you who may not know, America is mentioned in the Bible, but you're not going to find the literal word America in the Bible, because the Bible contains a lot of dark sayings, parables and dark sayings, which the elect will be able to interpret and break down. But Babylon is mentioned many times in the scriptures. You've got the ancient kingdom of Babylon, and you've also got the Babylonian Empire, and you've also got Babylon the Great, which is America, spoken of in the Bible. So America is indeed Babylon the Great. Let's continue, and then I'll get the scriptures to break that down. It says, after 2 months in office, Biden has already done a superb job of bringing our country back. The $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan will jumpstart our economic recovery and pave the way for schools to reopen, while enabling state and local officials to invest in infrastructure. And the vaccine, oh dear, I said that word. And the vaccine rollout has ramped up, with experts projecting the United States could reach herd immunity. I'm getting excited. With the United States expected it could reach herd immunity by this summer. Lord willing, that's the case, because the sooner this goes down, the sooner, Lord willing, we'll be delivered from this. Because, there's just a few more prophecies to play out, mainly being the mark of the beast, which is spoken of in Revelation chapter 13, verses, is it 16 on down, I believe. I'll get it in a bit. And also, we know World War III will take place too. But the mark of the beast is the next major prophecy that we've got our eyes on, and what many of the men of the hopeful elect are speaking about when doing their lessons and prophesying, because you really have to be focused on that, because that's essentially what Esau's trying to do. And what all of his what you could call gradualism or agenda is about doing, because his plan is to try and enslave everybody under his beast system, because in the Bible it speaks of many different beasts prophetically. Nations and kingdoms can be known as beasts in the scriptures, and we're living in the we're living in the age of the revival of the Roman Empire. So I'll get into that in a bit, but let's continue this article. It says hoping that the United States could reach herd immunity by this summer. The US may be winning a race between vaccinations and variants, but the world is losing it. As the US recovery effort picks up steam, we have an opportunity to save lives while rebuilding our moral standing in the world post-Trump. Well, those are bold claims, man, because the scriptures do say if you could take balm for Babylon, it would have been healed, roughly paraphrasing. But there's no healing Babylon, man. There's no healing Babylon the Great. It's fallen, and it's going to continue to fall. There's no healing that place. So continuing on, it says the US may be winning the race between vaccinations and variants, but the world is losing it. As the US recovery effort picks up steam, we have an opportunity to save lives while rebuilding our moral That's the most immoral kingdom on the face of the earth, America. But they want to rebuild their moral standing in the world post-Trump. It says to turbocharge the president's Build Back Better agenda at home, and christen a new era. Ooh, christen? If I'm... Interesting choice of word. Christen a new era of US foreign policy. We need to lead a global vaccination initiative to help the world beat back the pandemic, much like the Marshall Plan that aided Slovakia in Europe's recovery after World War II. So this is very interesting. So far, only about 6 doses have been administered per 100 people worldwide, and many countries will not reach herd immunity until 2023, if at all. That timeline doesn't even take into account the possibility that emerging variants could evade the vaccines. Oh, I keep saying that word all day. The longer it takes to achieve a global herd immunity, the more likely it is that COVID-19 will become endemic. So let's see what that word endemic means. I'm not too sure, so let's look it up. Interesting word. Endemic. Alright, natural or characteristic to a specific people or place, native or indigenous, belonging exclusively or confined to a particular place, of a disease persisting in a popular region, generally having settled to a relatively constant rate of occurrence. Wow, isn't that telling? And look at what it says here in this dictionary article. It's a dictionary entry. It says the CV that causes CV-19 may never disappear, but could become endemic like HIV. Wow, I've stumbled onto a gold mine here. So basically, this thing might never go away. They might just keep using this more and more and more to strip people of their basic human rights. Well, you don't have human rights in Esau's kingdom. For those of you who don't know who Esau is predominantly the so-called white people. You know, however, as I said at the start of this lesson, you are going to get Israelites who do look like the other nations. So you can't just say, oh, this person's got biblical leprosy, is an Edomite. No, you got to try the spirit by the spirit. And then, you know what I mean? Once you've been around for a fair amount of time and you learn to become spiritually discerning, Esau can't hide himself. You know, Esau can't hide himself. The way he comes up, the way he presents himself, an Edomite is an Edomite. But with that being said, where was I going? Yeah, so basically they're going to use this pandemic as an ongoing thing. You know, this is kind of like the what do they call it? The goose that laid the golden egg for Esau and his new world order agenda. This pandemic is like the goose that laid the golden egg, in the sense that he's got a goose and he's going to keep using it to try and drop these golden eggs to try and further his agenda. But you know, through the spirit of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, the elect are waking up, and we're not going to fall into the traps and Satan's, Esau's evil devices. You know, Lord willing, the spirit will stay on us to be able to stay vigilant and maneuver in a way so not to get entangled in the snare that's going to ensnare not just the rest of the world. The rest of the world is going to believe in this thing, but also 2/3 of the entire nation of Israel are going to be deceived by this thing. But the scriptures do say, is roughly paraphrasing, if it were possible, you would even deceive the very elect. But Lord willing, the elect will not be, well, not Lord willing, we know for a fact the elect won't be deceived. The elect are not going to fall for this thing. The elect are not going to take the mark. The elect are going to be faithful unto Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, unto the death. You know, and Lord willing, I pray that I'm one of those men. You know, if it's my lot, it's my lot. But at the end of the day, the things written aforetime are written for our learning, and this is all biblical prophecy that we're seeing playing out, because there's nothing new under the sun. These things were prophesied from the very beginning. So what we're actually seeing play out through us being in these carnal bodies right now, it's already done. Like we were saying at the camp yesterday, Esau's already in slavery. Esau's already finished. You know, the prophets had visions of it. It's already happened. We in our physical bodies at this point right now, we're just watching this whole thing play out, and we're doing the part that the Most High has ordained us to do, because there's no such thing as free will. You know, free will is something that is nothing but an illusion. It's something that people believe they have when they don't, because the scriptures. So like I'm roughly paraphrasing a lot of scriptures here. I should really be pulling them up, but I'm just flowing in the spirit right now. The scriptures do say that when deep sleep falleth upon a man, the Most High opens up their ears and imparts the understanding of what they're going to do the next day. So really, everything is predestined, preordained. There's no such thing as free will. So this is already played out, and we have to have faith that the Lord's going to take care of us in due time, because he's giving us his promise. And this isn't like Yahweh's promises, Yahweh's word isn't like man's word. A man can be your friend one day. A man can be your friend one day, and the next day he hates you. Man is fickle, but the Most High isn't fickle. The Most High doesn't change. You know what? It's time for me to start pulling up all these precepts I'm calling. Let me pull them out. Bear with me, Salakia. Well, let me get this one before I get the one I want to get. Proverbs 24 verse 21. Just briefly. Lord willing, it's edifying. It says, my son, fear thou Yahweh the king and the king, and meddle not with them that are given to change, because that is kind of touches on the point where I was saying that men can change. As I said, a man can be singing your praises one day, the next, and the next day he hates your guts. Men are fickle like that, unfortunately. It's a sad thing. I'm speaking from experience here. It's a sad thing when somebody who you may have held in high esteem or high regard can turn around and treat you like an enemy. But the scriptures do say in this truth we're expected to suffer wrongfully, and also it does say that blessed are ye when men shall revile you and cast out your name for the Son of Man's sake, and say all manner of wickedness against you. So these things are to be expected if you're in this truth, because if they did it to our Lord Yahweh Shai, well, they're going to do it to us, because the scriptures do say the servant is not greater than the master. But that's going into a different topic slightly. But the fact of the matter, what I'm saying is that the Most High is the same yesterday, today, and forever. I believe that's the one I'm looking for. Bear with me. There we go. I finally found it. It's Malachi 3 and 6 that I was looking for. So lucky for the delay. But I'm just flowing in the spirit here. As I said, Malachi chapter 3 and verse 6. This says, for I am Yahweh, I change not. Therefore ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. Ooh, that scripture's good. I needed to hear that, man. This is Malachi chapter 3 and verse 6. For I am Yahweh, I change not. Therefore ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. You see, this is the thing, man, because us being Israelites in our captivities, we could have been destroyed as a people completely off the face of the earth. But the only thing that kept us alive for all the hell we've caught? Yahweh's promises, Yahweh's word and his testimony. That is what's kept us, because the Most High, he doesn't change. When he gives you his word, it's as I said, it's not like a man's word. A man can promise you one thing one day. Prime example. You might want to buy something in the world, and you'll negotiate with someone and you negotiate a price. The guy tells you, okay, it'll be £20. You okay? Okay, I'll buy it for you for £20. You go to collect the item, and then he's asking for £25, and you say, hang on a minute, yesterday you said it was 20, and he's like, oh, but I had to do this and I had to do that, so it's gone up to 25. That's man, and that's to be expected because men are fickle. Unfortunately, unfortunately, I'm a man too. I'm in this flesh, Lord willing. I try not to be fickle to the best of my ability, but in this flesh, people do make mistakes. But as a man, especially a man in this truth, you should be a man of your word. You should be aiming to let your yea be yea and your nay be nay. You shouldn't be saying one thing one day and then doing the next the other. That is a sign of, I'm just going to say it, that's a sign of an effeminate person. You expect that kind of conduct from a woman. A man is supposed to give his word, and his word should be his bond, as they say in hip hop, word is bond. You know what I'm saying? Because a man's integrity should carry him a long way, but in this society, integrity isn't really valued very highly or esteemed very highly. People are just like, oh, I want what I want and I want it now, however I can get it. To hell with integrity, I want it, I'm going to do it. For example, so lucky I'm bouncing around topics, but this is how the spirit flows. A man who's scheming on another man's woman with the intentions of committing adultery, he might turn around and say to you, you know what, man, it's all good though. All's fair in love and war. No, not all is not fair in love and war. If you're doing that kind of conduct, you're just showing that you're a man of very poor moral character. You're a man of very low integrity. The scriptures say, let me get this precept, bear with me. Dishonor and reproach, let me get it. Yeah, Proverbs, I believe. Yes, Proverbs 6 is what I want. Yeah, here we go. Proverbs 6 verse 32. But whoso committeth adultery with a woman lacketh understanding. He that doeth it destroyeth his own soul. A wound and dishonour shall he get, and his reproach shall not be wiped away. You see what I'm saying? That's why you need to conduct yourself a certain way, man, as a man. Because your conduct will exemplify whether you're a man of honour or if you're a man of dishonour. So from my perspective, there's nothing to glory in about being a dishonourable person. There's no glory in it. There's nothing desirable about being a dishonourable person. But some people don't know because they never studied the scriptures. They don't know what things can dishonour a man and what don't. So obviously, as the prophets, we're here to tell you. But back to the article. Went on a tangent a bit, but it's all through the spirit. It says, here we go, saying these words again. To vaccinate the world faster, the US government needs to provide more funding for, COVAX. The global oh man. The global vaccination effort led by World Health Organization along with UNICEF and other organizations. The United States should increase direct investments in vaccine manufacturing through public-private partnerships, which would create jobs, leverage vaccine diplomacy, and support the biomanufacturing industry, possibly leading to cures for other illnesses as well. Esau's going hard. It says, but the chief bottleneck in a vaccine production is not money, but the manufacturing capacity. The private sector has already increased its production by multiples, but it's still not enough to meet global demand. Vaccinations are, in the lexicon of economics, a public good. The market left alone is undersupplying a product that benefits public at large. That's interesting. You've got to break these things down. Let me think about what's being said here. The market left alone is undersupplying a product that benefits the public at large. So what they're basically saying is that they're not producing enough of this stuff and that this stuff would benefit the public at large. But Esau speaks with a forked tongue. Esau speaks with a forked tongue. Let me get this in Sirach, the 12th chapter. It says, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou had wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not altogether been wiped away. So Esau's crouching and he's going humbly, trying to present this as if this is a thing that's going to benefit the people, when his real agenda is the depopulation agenda. You know, when you really think about the magnitude of the wickedness that is taking place on the face of this earth, it's hard not to feel that you're up against an insurmountable enemy. You know, if we were to look at the situation carnally, with being carnal-minded, we think that there's no way out of this, man. Esau's got every avenue locked. He's got every road blockaded. There's no way out. He's got the whole world by the balls, so to speak. But you know what? This goes back to what I said at the very start of this lesson. Our way out is through the promises that were given unto us by Yahweh Shai in his holy word. Those promises are our ray of light in this situation, which you could say represents our darkest hour. And by having faith in those words and faith that Yahweh will deliver on his promises, we see a light at the end of the tunnel, man. And that's what you got to hold on to. That's what you got to hold on to through thick and thin. That ray of light and the faith that Yahweh will keep his word and his promises, which he promised unto our forefather Abraham, all the way back in Genesis. Was it 12 maybe? All those promises is going to bring to pass, and not one of his words shall fail. This world may pass away, but the Lord's word will never pass away. Everything else is going to perish. This whole, Babylon the Great, America, all this shit is going to be burnt up with nuclear fire. Nuclear fire in the chariots is prophesied in Isaiah and Joel. Ezra's had visions of the destruction. And the destruction is not going to be a light thing, man. It's going to be a heavy thing. Because if you think about it, you've got to remember, this is the Lord that destroyed the whole world and saved only 8 people. This is the same God of the Bible. This is why the Lord must be feared. It says the fear of Yahweh is the beginning of wisdom. That's just the beginning of wisdom. So let's continue on. But the chief bottleneck in vaccine production, I might as well just say it all the time now, is not money but manufacturing capacity. The private sector has already increased its productions by multiples, but it's still not enough to meet the global demand. Vaccines are in the lexicons of public economics, which means house management, I believe, the word economics, a public good. The market left alone is undersupplying a product that benefits the public at large. The federal government needs to support production more expansively, which will require contracts with pioneering bio-manufacturers like National Resilience, and a review of how to streamline the entirety of the supply chain from vials to special syringes. Leviticus chapter 19 verse 28 states, we ought to obey the Most High rather than men. Ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am Yahweh. So we're not supposed to have any cuttings in our flesh. But Esau wants to hit you with his sword. Investing in biomanufacturing, the production of biological products made from living cells, could benefit the US economy and cement our position as a leader in medical innovation. Biomanufacturers are capable of producing an array of pharmaceutical products, from vaccines to cell or gene therapies, that could one day treat cancer or Alzheimer's. Now again, this is Esau speaking with his forked tongue, because the cancer rate has gone through the roof. And if you've got someone who's living with cancer and you say to them, I've got a cure for you, Most people will be jumping over the chair to try and get it, which is sad, unfortunately, because the scriptures do say that we didn't love our lives unto the death. It's lucky we hated our lives unto the death, roughly paraphrasing. So, and whosoever loseth his life for the sake of the gospel shall find it, but whosoever findeth his life shall lose it. So you can't be holding on too hard to this world. Continuing on, it says, treat cancer or Alzheimer's, given that the state of Massachusetts is already the top bioharma hub in the country. Federal funding will help to expand from research and development to manufacturing to become a global center for the industrial biology. Very interesting article, this one is. So let's continue. It says, finally, controlling more vaccine production will give the United States greater leverage in vaccine diplomacy. Countries like Russia and China are already offering other countries access to vaccines in an attempt to further their interests. We should not let them set the norms or stakes for these negotiations. In Brazil, for example, China is using vaccine shipments to press for 5G access. Interesting. For the Chinese telecommunications company Huawei, the United States should be countering such strong arming by providing its own vaccine supplies instead of extracting concessions. However, we can be building partnerships in public health, from logistics of vaccine distribution to the training of medical workers. Not much more to go here, just a little bit, one more paragraph. As a student of history and the great-grandson of Harvey Bundy, one of the architects of the Marshall Plan, I don't propose this undertaking lightly. The world needs America to lead. Oh, the nations are drunk off the wine of Babylon. The world needs America to lead the fight against C-19, and it's a transnational challenge that calls for visions and boldness. Yes, it does call for visions. The visions it calls for is the visions that the prophets have from the Holy Scriptures to condemn this thing, so that our people don't walk into the snares and the traps that Esau has privily set for them. Or I should say privily. It's lucky if I pronounce that word correctly. In the past, Americans have brought forth their best in times of crisis. After Trump abased our country on a world stage for 4 years, the United States can reclaim moral leadership through a Marshall Plan for vaccines. The word moral and America don't belong in the same sentence. Immoral and America do. So let's get this in the scriptures. We're going to go to Revelation 18. No, let's start from 13, because this is where this is all leading up to. No, let's start from 12, in fact. Revelation chapter 12 and verse 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe, meaning destruction, to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil, meaning Esau, is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. I want to talk about Revelation 13. This is where this is all leading to. Revelation 13, and I'm going to start from 13 actually. Let's start from 12, because basically, let's break it down. America is the revival of the Roman Empire, essentially. That old, the dragon with the wounded head represents America, because its head was wounded when the ancient Roman Empire fell, but it's revived and it's come back, okay, through the prophecies. So Revelation 13 and 12 states. No, let's read from 11 even. No, let's go from 9. Revelation 13 and 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. So what did the Americans do? How was their nation built up? By leading the northern kingdom, Judah, Benjamin and Levi, into captivity via transatlantic cargo slave ships, and also by putting our fellow brother in the northern kingdom in hardcore bondage in America too. So he led us into captivity. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity, as prophesied in the book of Obadiah. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Going back to Esau's blessing in Genesis, the 27th chapter, Esau's blessing was the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed, meaning the revival of the Roman Empire. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men. Now, I believe that's talking about their nuclear technology, if I'm not mistaken. They dropped the bombs on Nagasaki and Hiroshima. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell in the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by the sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. That's the times that are to come. There's going to come a point where it's going to be like, if you ain't down with the system, we're going to put you down. We're going to put you to death. Yeah. But as the men of the Lord, we have to be faithful unto Yahweh Shai unto death. And the Lord's going to fight for us. Wait upon him. Wait upon Yahweh Shai until the day that he riseth up to the prey. So continuing on, it says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. So that mark that they're talking about of in Revelation 13 through 16, 13, 16 on down to is that RFID implantable microchip, which is what they're pushing towards. That's why all of these lockdowns and things are happening, because Esau's trying to hasten the day that he can implement his mark. When on the other hand, that's on the left hand side of the Most High, but on the right hand side, we're hastening the day of the coming return of our Lord, Yahweh Shai, who is a so-called black man according to the Bible from the tribe of Judah, not the false image that you see portrayed of this leprous man with this long brown hair, because the scriptures do say a man is not supposed to have long hair. It is a shame unto a man to have long hair. So why would our Lord look like that? The Lord is described in the book of Revelation as having eyes like a flame of fire, meaning an angry look on his face, head and hairs white like wool, and a garment down to the foot, girt about the paps with a golden girdle, meaning that he was a man of war. So that's what's to come. And back on the topic of America, let's get into Revelation 18. You can't heal America. America is through. Revelation 18 verse 1. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lighted by his glory. And he cried with a mighty and strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all the nations are drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. So it says, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people. So the question is, who are the Lord's people? The answer to that is the Israelites. Let me jump and get that piece up quick. Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. Deuteronomy 7 and 6 states, For this was spoken unto the Israelites. For thou art a holy people unto Yahweh thy power. Yahweh thy power hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all the people that are upon the face of the earth. Yahweh did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because you were more in number than any people, for ye were the fewest of all people, but because Yahweh loved you, and he would keep the oath. This goes back to my original point, man. That promise means everything. It's everything. That promise that the Most High made to Abraham and his seed after him, going through the line of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you can never undervalue or underplay the importance of that promise, because, as I said, men are men, women are women. If you talk to men in the world or women in the world, or dare I say even men in the world, men in this truth, a man can say one thing to your face one day, and the next day you turn around and flip the script on you. But the Most High won't do that. He won't ever do that, because he's a man of his word. The Most High is not a man that he should lie. So let's read on. But because Yahweh loved you and would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, hath Yahweh brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen and from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. So the Most High, through Yahushua his son, Yahushua is our Redeemer. And the Most High is going to redeem us, because the curse is in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. Let me get it for edification's sake. I'm flowing a bit here, man. I'm jumping around, but Lord willing, the precepts are linking up. Deuteronomy 28:68 stated that, and Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. And that's important, because that links up with another precept. Let me get it. Yeah, here we go. So I'll read this again, yeah? And I'll get the precept it links to. And Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, and thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man, I'm emphasizing that word, no man shall buy you. Why is that important? Well, if we go to Isaiah 47 and verse 3, what does it say? Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. As for our Redeemer, Yahweh of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel. So that's two things there. Yahweh said we'd be sold unto our enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and that no man will buy us, meaning that no man's going to redeem us. But Yahweh himself, the Holy One of Israel, is going to redeem us through his son Yahushua, and Yahushua is not going to meet Esau as a man. Yahushua is coming back as the second most powerful being in all creation, to destroy America, to wipe America off the map, man. That's the end for America. So there's no building back Babylon. You can't blame this all on Donald Trump, saying, 4 years of Donald Trump is why America's a laughing stock in the world. No, America's a laughing stock in the world because people are waking up to the wickedness of Esau. Even people who aren't in the truth are waking up to thinking, hang on, man, something ain't right here. Now, then they might not get the truth, but everybody in the back of their mind, they're feeling something ain't right. Something's coming down the pipe. Something's going on. There's more to this than meets the eye, as they say. So I'm going to stop there. No. Let me get back to where I was. Let me just check I finished up what I was saying. Revelation 18. I think I made the point. Just checking. Yeah. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not her plagues. Not of her plagues, for her sins have reached up to heaven, and the Most High have remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and render unto her double according to her works. In the cup which she hath filled to her double. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. So America's a very, very proud nation, man. Very proud nation, and it's going to be brought low. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning, famines, like it. And she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Most High Power who judgeth her. Yes, man. Ooh, that you should want to see that, man. And Lord willing, we will see that. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city, Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. Now, it's only going to take Yahushua 1 hour to wipe America off the face of the earth. It took about how many years? I don't know, 400, 600. America's been around for not even 500 years, I think. It's lucky I haven't worked out the numbers, but America hasn't been around for that long in terms of, if you take the entirety of creation into existence, America hasn't been around that long. But it took a while to build up. If we look at it through our eyes, through the eyes of a man, 350 years, 400 years, 450 years, that seems like a long time to us in the flesh. But that's what, not even maybe just a few days in the sight of the Most High, because the scriptures say a day with the Lord is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is a day. So here's Esau strutting his stuff like a peacock, thinking that he's, Bobby Big Balls on the scene, that nobody can take him down. But America's going to be taken down, and violently, by the Most High when his son Yahushua returns. And the scriptures do say the day of the Lord shall come as a thief in the night. So you don't know when this is coming, but believe it is coming. So on that note, giving all praise and all glory unto Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem HaKadosh, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that were well, and shalom to you fellow Arkim that are teaching this word with truth and faith and in sincerity. And until the next lesson I do, Lord willing, I'll say shalom.